It's Leah CK here on the Beat London 103.6 FM. I'm a rose between three thorns right now. Yes, I have got T, aka Bass and Breast. Don't ask. I tried to just smooth past that. I've got competition winner. LJ, yes, I just looked at you to make sure that I can shout you out in case you're incognito. So LJ's come to pick up his prize, and I've said, come, you can come check us out for a minute. So he's here, and then I have got multi-award-winning social entrepreneur Nathaniel Pete, who is fresh from speaking on Sir Richard Branson's Necker Island. Hello, Nat.
Hey, what's up, Leah? You okay?
I'm good. Let's speak into that microphone. So basically, before I get to you now, let me just kick this off, right?
The Great Debate with Leah Charles-Good.
Oh, yeah, I completely forgot that you took the time to do that for me. How ungrateful am I? I forced you. I did not force you. Anyway, so this week's Great Debate it comes from you guys. I had so many messages this week, WhatsApp, text going, I hope you're talking about this in your Great Debate this week. And I was like, listen, we're just doing silly things like playing Guess the Sound. What, you want me to get serious again? And it was like, yeah, we want to talk about this. So hopefully you do too. Now, this week, Katie Hopkins, who is a journalist, she's a radio presenter as well, on LBC, she basically, she's known for tweeting really bad, derogative stuff on Twitter. And in response to a new Netflix series called Dear White People, she tweeted, Dear Black people, if your lives matter, why do you stab and shoot each other so much? Okay, so obviously that's now caused great concern. Social media has gone into meltdown. She is trending, as usual, for her opinions, shall we just say. But why people are divided as well is because some are basically going, it's racist, she's this, that. And other people are saying, well, hasn't she got a point? Has she not just got a point? Is that not what black people are known for? And the thing is, I don't think it's a black or white thing. It doesn't matter what colour you are. Everyone has a point of view about this, good or bad. That's what it is. It's a point of view. I'll be speaking to Roanna Charlton from the Resisting Hate organisation, who has actually gone on to report Katie Hopkins to the police simply because they are fed up of the way she incites hate, is what they believe. And then I've also got, of course, Nathaniel Pete, who is here with me right now. Nat, thank you for being here.
It's good to be here, Leah. Definitely good to be here.
I love the fact you're here because you've always got great things to say. You've called on my show a lot before.
Yes.
Obviously, we do know each other as well.
Yes,
so
indeed.
If anyone hears me being cheeky to you right now, they know it's because we're like brother and sister, literally.
Exactly.
All right. So listen up. Nat, tell me then, you saw this tweet. What was your first reaction?
First reaction was like, how can you equate a movement, basically, which was born out of 2012 murder of Trayvon Martin in the United States? Just to kind of bring you back to that point, in 2012, Trayvon Martin was killed by George Zimmerman, and he was actually acquitted of that. And the 17-year-old was posthumously put on trial for his own murder, which called for a huge action in the United States of America to actually create a movement to stop the dehumanization of a lot of black people. Oftentimes you read stories in the news of black men being killed and shot by the police, or the disproportionality in the prison system, which was, kind of started to happen after the Clinton administration, and more black people started to become imprisoned in prison. We even find it in the UK that, the black people are overrepresented in the prison. And so you cannot actually equate in a condition of violence with black people in a black area. If there's black people in the area, of course they're going to kill black people. If you've got Chinese people in the area, they're going to kill Chinese people. That's violence. You can't equate basically oppression of a people where the police are actually shooting to then black people killing each other. They're two separate different things. And the Black Lives Matter campaign is about a political, social call to action across black people. And it's actually transitioned through borders. It's transitioned through cultures. It's transitioned through races. A number of people actually support Black Lives Matters. And that's important that we actually come together to look at this issue, because, you've got people out there that are really pushed down because of state and systems, which, oftentimes then, coming into this perception, this idea, this narrative that black people are violent, and many people actually pick that up as individuals.
Well, can I just say, though, Nat, exactly that. Black people have a reputation of being violent, particularly towards each other. Now, I mean, you're looking at me, and the first thing you said to me on the phone, I mean, you were one of those people that called me and said, I hope you're talking about this. I want to come down. I'm free this afternoon. I'm coming. Now, obviously, that really annoyed you. I know you do so much in the community. But on a bigger level, right? I'm saying on a bigger level very loosely, but on a mainstream level.
On a mainstream level.
On a mainstream level, it appears...
Yeah, perceptions.
It appears that as black people, as a community, as a race, that we are very much more against each other. We even joke amongst ourselves that we don't support each other like the Asians do, like the Jews do. You know, we even say that ourselves. And then obviously what we do see a lot of black on black crime. Do they have anything in the police called Asian against Asian crime or anything like that? You know, do they have those sort of stats that they talk about? So... when you hear something like Katie Hopkins saying, well, dear black people, la, 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 can you understand where she's coming from?
You know, I kind of understand the middle class liberal view of it, but the thing is, you cannot take away from the years of negative programming of black people. When you're going all the way back, we've got to take it all the way back to the 1600s when, we're only taught in school about us being slaves. We're only taught about that in our schools. We've had oppression in so many different cultures in the United States of America, for instance, civil rights movement. You're talking about even in the United Kingdom at board level, you don't find blacks at board level in major companies here in the UK. You're talking about disproportionality. You're talking about black people being taught to actually hate each other from way back in the day. You're talking generations of negative oppression, generations and decades and even a century that has passed whereby we've been completely separated and pulled apart as a group. And so, all of that plays then into, the reasons why some black people actually hate themselves.
Okay, great point. But then if that's how we view ourselves, how do we expect middle class England like Katie Hopkins to view us? If that's how we view ourselves, she's not black or of any kind of colour. She would have no idea of what we have gone through and what we continue to go through. So is she really at fault?
I'm not saying that, and don't take it as though I'm saying that black people hate themselves, because they don't. Black people do not hate themselves. But what I'm saying is that there are some that have completely lost all self-esteem. They've lost all confidence. They've lost all hope. They've lost all of that. Now, if you're in a deprived environment, if you're in a community that has been stripped, literally, that doesn't have the resources, doesn't have the best thing, doesn't have the job opportunity, doesn't have the ability to rise from a condition, and you're living amongst others that look like you, and there is crime and violence which spurs from poverty. We can see that in Glasgow. It's white people killing each other in Glasgow. You can go to another part of the world. Let's go to, let's say, Syria, or let's go to Pakistan, or you go to India. It's going to be Indians killing each other. And wherever there's a community that basically has these social issues, that has poverty, that has lack of opportunity, that has, their character being knocked away through various different means, where you have lack of education, where you have lack of resources, then people are going to resort to other methods of getting money. And so what comes within that is actually then the dynamic shift, basically, of survival. Basically, what is survival? So you go all the way back to survival. People would basically be fighting and doing things, right? All right, so what do they get involved in? Drugs. All right, what happens with drugs? Drugs gives them money. Now, what happens in the territory of drugs, that is now paired with violence. And then you've got a condition of violence, and it's going to be normally black on black violence. Or you go to the Hispanics, and it's going to be Hispanic violence. The Haitians, it's going to be there. Colombia, it's going to be Colombian violence.
But we are talking about the UK, which is supposed to be very diverse. And like I said, when you think of different races of people, Like you think the Jewish, they're stingy. The Indians, they're stingy. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever. I'm just giving, obviously, general stereotypes. But when people say the blacks, let's face it, we're gangbangers, we're drug leaders, we're like literally there's a whole list of stuff that we are and we could be. So so you think it's strategic, right? Hold on, but we are going to get onto that. Definitely. Nathaniel gets all pumped up, mate. He's going to take off his polo neck and his jacket in a minute, I tell you. Listen up, of course, I am just playing devil's advocate, so please don't cuss me. I'm just trying to think of what the other side think of. Of course, I'm a young black woman. I go through the same things as what many of us go through. But now I'm opening the floor to you. I want to hear your opinion. What do you think of this Katie Hopkins? Do you think that her tweet saying, "Dear black people, if your lives matter so much, why do you shoot and stab each other?" If you think... do you see something wrong with that? Do you think it's racist? Or do you just think that, well, she has a point? Or maybe you just think it's ignorance. Whatever your view is, I would like to hear it, of course. 0208 963 9566. 0208 963 9566. Maybe you agree with some of what Nathaniel's saying. Maybe you completely disagree. Maybe you've got your own POV. I want to hear it. Hello, who's there?
Hi, my name's Kalisha.
Hello, lovely. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. You?
Good, I'm good. Well, you're live on the radio, so let us know. What's your view?
Okay. I'm just going to put it down to her not being educated, and it's not her fault. Because if she's not been educated to see the world another way, then there's no one to blame, because she's not been educated that way. So I'm just going to say she's not educated, and if I don't blame her, but in her position that's able to tweet and have so many people see that tweet, to have such an ignorant and uneducated opinion, she's wrong for that.
So you think that she's using her celebrity, so to speak, and that people are feeding into that?
Yeah.
And that she's just ignorant. So it's kind of like, forgive them for they know not what they do type of situation.
Exactly. To be fair, I don't blame her, because if she don't know, she don't know. She's none the wiser. You can't blame her for something she doesn't know. So that's not her fault. And I see it as, we're in the UK, we live here, and there's a lot of white people that you must know yourself that will come out with statements like that as well, and you as a black woman have to deal with it. I dealt with that myself the other day, and I done it by educating the person. You can't sit down and blame the person they don't know, so you educate.
How did
she, in her position, I sent them a few videos, little... Hidden colours?
Say that again, because this is good. This is a good little tip. How did you decide to educate these people?
So I sent him a few videos from hidden colours.
Okay,
just
right.
to prove that things are still happening today that's affected us all those years back, and we're not hung up on things back then. It's the effects that's happening today. So it's just educate. So I don't blame her. I just blame the fact that she's in her position and she had such a stupid opinion.
Yeah, I mean, wow. Gosh. Okay. Thank you. What's your name?
Kalisha.
Kalisha. It's Kalisha. You called in before, haven't you?
Yeah, I have.
Yes, you have. I love my regular listeners. Thank you so much, Kalisha. Brilliant opinion there. Thank you, darling. She's got a very, very good point. How could you blame someone who's just ignorant? But then would you say, well, hold on a minute, you are... this obviously educated woman, according to society, you've got a good job, you've got a good career, you're looked up to, you're a celebrity, so surely you shouldn't be ignorant. Surely you must be able to understand. Why must a black person educate you on something that should be so basic? Yeah or no? Do you agree with Kalisha, with Nathaniel? 0208 963 9566. We'll get right back to the debate. I'll be speaking to Roanna Charlton from Against Hate, if I'm even saying that right. She is basically... Gosh, where am I? I'm trying to get on our Twitter just to let you know what our Twitter feed is saying. Resisting Hate, Rowena Charlton. They've basically reported Katie Hopkins to the police. And I want to know more about why they've started this petition. I'll be speaking to her about 6 o'clock. The phone lines are open for you, though. We're here until 7 p.m. 0208 963 9566. We are discussing all sorts. You can tweet at the Beat 1036 FM. Navdeep has done that, and she said, my personal opinion is that we should just all ignore that oxygen thief, Katie Hopkins, and what she has to say. All she is clickbait material. Good point. Do you agree? 0208 963 9566. Let's get back to the music. It's Leah CK Drive Time on the Beat London.
The Great Debate with Leah Charles Good.
So it's Leah CK here on the Beat London 103.6 FM. We are talking the online troll. Some people are calling her Katie Hopkins. She's a journalist. She's a radio presenter on LBC. She's recently put a very racist tweet out this week. In fact, most of her tweets are deemed as racist. This one in particular was in response to a TV show called Dear White People, where Katie responded saying, "Dear black people, if your lives matter so much, why do you shoot and stab each other?" Do you agree with Katie? Or do you think like shows like Dear White People is asking for trouble? Should we be saying Dear White People? If it was white people who made a show saying Dear Black People, what would our reactions be? T's like, put me on, man. Put me on. 0208 963 9566. Hello, Hezron.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for calling. What's your view on all this?
Okay, so this lady Katie, for writing a tweet like that when she knows that a lot of people are going to be able to see that, is extremely reckless of her. You know. She obviously doesn't practice thinking before she speaks. So it's one of those ones there where she's basically using her permission, her position to basically say something reckless, and she's very aware of the influence it can have on people, you know. But I actually believe the cause of this is down to being uneducated, because you know a lot of people who speak recklessly about any type of race, to be honest, are quite uneducated, and unfortunately a lot of people are uneducated and have been taught wrongly about black history and about black culture, you know, and black history and culture, the type that is actually exposed to us is very selective, and it's very misleading.
It is misleading. I completely do agree with you there. So you're just saying that Katie Hopkins, she speaks recklessly because she knows the position she has in society. It makes people obviously listen to her more, and quite frankly, she's just uneducated. Thank you so much, Hezron.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling. I appreciate that.
Is there any chance I can say something else quickly?
Very quickly, if it's not lewd, crude or rude.
No, it's not rude. I was wanting to say, you know, if this lady or if other white people who have that view were educated about certain empires like the Mali Empire, the Yoruban Empire, the Nubians and the ancient Egyptians who are actually black, then I think that, you know, it could change a lot of their view of black history.
Very good. Nathaniel's here, bouncing his head up and down. He's like, yeah, man, yeah. But it's very true. We're all power to the people. Thank you, Hezron. Thank you for calling. I appreciate that. Listen up. If you've got an opinion just like Hezron, just like Kalisha, just like Nathaniel, just like T, who's like, put me on, man, put me on. I can't. Can you see that clock is ticking down? I've got to play a song. But the debate continues. I'll be speaking to Roanna Charlton from Resisting Hate organisation, who has started a petition and has officially reported Katie Hopkins to the police. I've got Nathaniel Pete, social entrepreneur, multi-award winner. He's actually been listed on the 2017, what is it? The British Blacklist, isn't it? The Black Power List, that's the one. I should know that. Anyway, all of that still to come. Make sure you keep your calls coming in. 0208 963 9566. It's Leah CK Drive Time with the Great Debate. It's Leah CK Drive Time on the Beat London 103.6 FM. Let me tell you this, the phone lines are popping off. I've got Kayla, I've got Paul, I've got Andre, I've got so many of you waiting to speak. We are talking about the journalist, radio presenter, celebrity, if you want to call her, Katie Hopkins, who has caused a bit of a debacle on Twitter because she's known for her controversial tweets, and she has responded to a new American TV series called Dear White People. She has responded by saying, well, dear black people, if your lives matter so much, Why do you stab and shoot each other? So, of course, many of you want to talk about this. Many of you have asked me to talk about it today. And so, hey, power to the people and all that. I've got multi-award-winning social entrepreneur Nathaniel Pete, who is here. He is one of the speakers for Sir Richard Branson himself. He's just come back from Necker Island.
Well, Necker a little while ago, but
okay.
but it's all
right.
good. It's
pipe
good to
down,
be in the
pipe
studio.
down, pipe down. Good. Because I've also got people now thinking I'm being rude to you. He's my mate. But I've also have Roanna Charlton from Resisting Hate organisation. They have actually officially reported Katie Hopkins to the police, and I want to know why. Hi, Roanna.
Hiya.
Welcome to my little show. Tell us a bit more about Resisting Hate, why you decided to do it and what it actually does.
Well, Resisting Hate are an online anti-hate organisation. We focus very much on online crime, specifically Twitter, though we are moving out of the Twitter sphere into other social media issues as well. We aim to combat hate in a variety of different ways. We aim to find people who break the law, and we use the police contacts and the contacts with other anti-hate groups to bring those individuals to justice. We also work with Twitter and sometimes with Facebook as well to get accounts shut down for people who are obviously breaking social media conditions and using social media platforms to spread hate.
Right. You know what's interesting right now, Roanna, as I'm speaking with you, I know you put something on Twitter that you were going to be on the show. And as I'm speaking to you, literally, we're having lots of controversial tweets, should we say, which I won't really repeat them on the radio, but it's ironic, isn't it? You know, you've got all these people saying things about you and just giving just pure sort of abuse, really, which is exactly what you're trying to stop.
Yeah.
I completely understand. Now, when you saw Katie Hopkins tweet, I mean, you see her tweets all the time. We know that she's controversial. But what was it about this particular tweet that really got under your skin?
I think that the tweet that the Resisting Hate reported it to the police for was the one about Ramadan. Yet another tweet in a series of tweets, articles, online presences that yet again have attempted to vilify our Muslim communities. Katie Hopkins is trying to give the impression that every single person in our country who practices the faith of Islam is in some way a terrorist. We know this is rubbish. Everybody with a brain knows this is rubbish, and unfortunately Katie Hopkins doesn't. That was the one that instigated us to take action. The subsequent tweet about the black people, where she's obviously using Twitter to racially abuse our black communities as well, equally unacceptable, and we will be adding that to our complaint as well.
Right, and that is why you've just decided enough's enough and you've decided to go. So what are you hoping that the police will do?
Well, as we stated in the article that we wrote, we have cited the laws that Katie Hopkins has broken. We're not complaining that this woman is making rude comments. We are saying she has categorically broken the UK law. She's broken the Public Order Act, she's broken the Malicious Comms Act. She is openly flouting UK law. So we actually want to see some retribution for that. We want the police to take it seriously as a breach of law.
Do you know what? You're absolutely right. And I think with social media, and this is something we'll talk about in a future week, but with social media now, the lines are just ridiculous. And the things that people couldn't do in real life, they're actually getting away with online. I've had it myself. So I have an ongoing issue, racist issue, sexist issue going on from someone on Twitter. And that's been going on a few years. And it's difficult, as much as that person has been arrested and they've been, it's all going here, then everywhere. However, there's still that line of people being able to get away with it. But that's a whole nother subject, Roanna, and hopefully I may just get you on for that show as well.
I think it is a problem. I think social media is almost seen as being exempt from normal laws, but it isn't. When you put these comments into the social media, you're actually reaching a much wider audience than you would down your local pub. It is dangerous. It is having an impact, and it is endangering people's lives and people's safety.
Absolutely. And it is, like you say, it's endangering people's safety. Can you elaborate on that just that little bit more?
I think so. I think when we see these comments on Twitter, on Facebook, day in, day out, it's effectively indoctrinating people into hate. It's starting to become acceptable to make racist, Islamophobic, sexist comments. And as we do that, these attitudes develop in society, and then it becomes from there acceptable to make those comments face-to-face, to have these prejudices. it starts on social media, and to me it's really important that we shut down. We say now, this is not acceptable to put into the social media.
Absolutely.
Because all that will happen, it will go into violence, it will go into hate, it will go into a breakdown of society itself, and it is such a shame because most of us don't hold these extreme views.
Absolutely, and I've got my guests in the studio nodding along as well. Rowanna, may I ask, where are you from? Are you British?
Yes, I am.
You're British, so for you, it literally is just anti-hate. You don't care the colour of the skin, you don't care what gender, what race, you're just all about the people.
Absolutely. We completely believe that every single person in our country, and indeed the world, has equal worth and equal value, and it's about making sure that everybody is given equal respect.
Loving that. Loving it so much. Thank you for what you were doing. I just want to say that personally from me to you, because it does take a lot of time and effort to stand up for something that you believe in. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, then. Take care, Rowanna. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. Okay, so that was good. What did you think about that, Nat?
Yeah, no, spot on, and absolutely agree with what Rowanna was saying. You've got to also remember that Katie Hopkins has actually been already put in through trials. She had to pay £150,000 to a Muslim family in 2016, and also, if you can remember back to Jack Monroe as well, where she had to pay £24,000 in damages and £107,000 in legal costs. This woman is actually educated. I mean, she actually passed the Oxford University entrance exam. Although she was rejected, she actually did, her stuff at the University of Exeter, but then, she was actually sponsored by the British Army Intelligence Corps to actually do that. So, I mean, this lady is an intelligent woman. And when you're putting out these types of things into social media where you have a following, you're a celebrity, you have a responsibility, because then what happens is people then perpetuate that message, and then you find this hatred which continues, as Rowanna did say.
Okay, cool. And you think she'd learned her lesson by now, surely. I've got Kayla on the line. She is one of our younger listeners. If anybody remembers a few weeks ago, I can't remember what we were speaking about, but she called us and blew us all away. She so happens to be Lollipops' daughter, who's a regular listener of the show. Hello, Kayla. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you.
Hi, darling. Well, thank you so much for calling. First of all, you've seen the tweet. You've heard of the tweet, haven't you? Now...
Yeah.
Katie Hopkins obviously believes that as black people, we are basically violent towards each other. Now, news just in the last hour, a young black boy has just been stabbed and died in Harlesden, which would then, wouldn't it prove...
Yeah.
Say that again, darling?
We just drove past it. It happens to be one of my friends as well.
You're kidding?
I know. Oh, no.
So sorry to hear about that, Kayla.
It's okay.
So, what do you think about all of this then? Now that you've seen that, you know what's going on, you're a young person yourself, you know more than me what's happening out there. So, do you feel that when someone like Katie Hopkins says something like that, can you see her point?
Well, I want to start with freedom of speech. I mean, everyone has a right to freedom of speech to a certain extent. She was okay to make a comment, but she needs to understand that she is going to be kind of like attacked in a way by people because what her comment like stated was wrong, and she shouldn't have said that because she doesn't grow up in the community that we do, and she doesn't understand from the youth as well what's going on. Mm-hmm. It's not about the black people killing other black people. They don't mean it in a racial kind of way. It just happens to be black people, if that makes sense.
So very much like what Nathaniel is saying here in the studio. He's just saying it's where you have a certain race of people or, a certain amount of people, then it is going to appear like that. I mean, Kayla, you're of mixed heritage, aren't you? So you're half black, half white anyway.
Yeah.
And so for someone like you who identifies obviously from both, do you understand it from both sides? Or is it a case of, well, no, actually, if Katie Hopkins is talking about black people in general, that includes you as well?
I mean, what she's saying to me, I don't really agree with it at all in any way because, as I said before, she doesn't understand the youth. The youth are bored, and that's coming from me as well as me being a teenager. Mm-hmm. We are bored and we don't know what to do. So people to violence and drugs, and it is it's bad, but it's life, and that's what's going on.
I understand,
Yeah.
like you, I'm from a very multicultural family, literally.
Yeah.
We're like the United Colours of Benetton. So I know what that's like. And it is very much, though, just a generalisation, because, of course, not all white people think that way, not all black people think that way, not all Asian people think that way. But when you have somebody like Katie Hopkins, who is in the public eye, the more people that are seeing her, the more she says these things, the more damage she's doing. And then the other thing, Kayla, you saying that young people are bored and you don't know what to do. First of all, that completely breaks my heart, and it's something that I've wanted to discuss on the show for a very long time. I'll be honest with you, I haven't been brave enough to do it. And I think you just bringing that up, I think we should go for it. I think we should have Nat in the studio again, because it's very much what he does. He actually goes into prisons to young people. He does a lot. So I think maybe what I should do is get some people in the community, and we should just get together, and maybe even have you on the show as well, Kayla, to represent young people, and we'll take it from there. But thank you so much, as always, for your opinion. You are so intelligent. You keep shining bright. Very proud of you, my darling. Girl power! Woo! So that's the lovely Kayla. Love her, and I'm loving all your opinions. Please do get in touch and let me know what you think. 0208 963 9566. I will be calling the rest of you back. So many of you just want to talk. You're like, I don't want to hear music, I want to talk. We are speaking about Katie Hopkins, who's a journalist, a radio presenter. She has tweeted, well, she's very known for her controversial tweets. She's tweeted this week in response to a TV show called Dear White People, which is American. And she's responded by saying, "Dear black people, if your lives matter so much, why do you stab and shoot each other?" We're discussing here, is it freedom of speech? Is she just uneducated? Is she racist? Obviously, people are going crazy up and down the country, and quite rightly so, in my opinion. But low down your radio. Levi's there.
Hi.
Hi, Levi. You know the rules. Low down your radio, otherwise I'm turning you off.
Hello.
You think you're clever? You still got your... What's this guy like?
Hello.
Okay, Levi, go on.
Yeah, I turned it down. I was going to touch on a few points, but first of all, I'd like to commend the brave young lady that came on earlier, because we don't listen enough to the youth.
Yes.
You know, and we also forget that we was young once, and how it is growing up. And I would like to say it was good that we could hear from a young voice of really
Kayla.
what's going
She's
on.
Fantastic.
Yeah. The thing is about it is that we're in a thing called systematical communities, which means that the government are the ones that employ where they build communities and where they put people. Now, if you look at estates and research that a lot of estates are similar to the estates in Brooklyn, New York, Manchester, and there seems to be a similar thing occurring. Now, we wasn't asked to be here, we've been put here. If you do a survey and you're ever going through housing, they ask you your ethnic background. I had a friend, I won't name him, but he's got a Jewish name, but he's Caribbean. So he put down Jew, and he lives kind of amongst the Jews and the wealthy, but he's not wealthy, but he lives better. They put him in better accommodation, better housing. If you do put your ethnic, they're going to put you in the ethnic area. It just so happens that estates were designed for single mothers and underprivileged people to get cheaper housing. But the same people that designed estates was the same architect, I can't remember his name, was the same guy who designed the prisons like in America, Rikers Island. He was the same architect that designed prisons. So when you check out the word estate and project, state is state of mind, project is experimentation. It's all a setup, it's all a ploy. The government have instigated gangs because they know what the problem is. I used to be a youth worker and I've researched these things. That's why I know what I'm talking about.
You sound like a man who knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, the statistics show that when the news was reporting of gang crime and stabbings, that there was a lot more stabbings. They get their statistics from the hospitals. Hospitals cover lacerations, wounds like either you've been in an accident or, you know, you've cut yourself in any...
Levi, I'm going to have to wrap you up, so just quit. I'm so sorry. It's only because I'm going to be taken by the ads.
Okay, well, just to wrap it up anyway, it's just to say that, you know, as it takes a village to raise a child, and we've got to come together in a community and start listening more to the youth. and understand we've got to create facilities for them and give them more opportunities. Thank you.
So give the young people power. Thank you so much, Levi. I appreciate that. And like you've just heard, I've decided that I am going to be brave enough to have a show about this, and just loads of reasons why I haven't. I'm someone who doesn't like to look like I'm jumping on a bandwagon. That's just not my style. But I think it's a conversation that needs to be had. Anyway, I have got Paul on the line. Hiya, Paul.
Hi, Leah.
Hi, thank you for calling in. So the great debate today is all about Katie Hopkins and the racist things she's been saying online. What are your views?
So I've got a couple of points. I mean, the first one with regards to Katie Hopkins. I mean, Katie Hopkins is doing what she does best, which is self-publicity. I mean, she didn't make it on The Apprentice, so she's got to find other ways of making a living. And was it Zaza Gabor that said the other thing worse than people talking about you, people not talking about you?
Very true.
So she's making money for herself, and we're playing into her hands. I mean, what we should have done is just ignore her, and she'd go away. So that's Katie. But having said that, there is a point, and the point is that she does have a point to an extent, and that is there is a high level of black on black, or black crime in general. And we can say we can look back at history and or whatnot, but we're not the only race to have issues. So the Jews have been persecuted, and other races have been persecuted. So I mean, it's in our hands now to change things, and we really need to start being positive about this and stop looking back and holding on to the past and using that as an excuse for not going forward. I mean, we are the masters of our own destiny, and we need to really start, sort of understanding what it is that can forward us as a race, and that is education. So educate ourselves, get good jobs, and we can move forward. So, all this gang culture, it just really annoys me, because that's the sort of stuff that holds us back as a race. I mean, and the beat is, has got a point, something to answer here as well, because I'm not saying there's not a time and place for any music, but I wake up in the morning, I put the radio on 8 o'clock, I put the beat on. Previously, you used to have that couple that used to go on about Parage all the time. I can't remember their names now.
Phoebe and Pirelli?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And, they were funny. I mean, they used to annoy me a bit, but they're funny, whatever, harmless. I mean, now you got, grime being played, going on about gangs and stabbing and this, that, the other, at like 8 o'clock in the morning and stuff. I mean, what is that saying to our youth? We've got kids on the way to school. I mean, what do they take away from that? I mean, we should be playing positive stuff. I don't really want to be hearing anything to do with gangs. Do
you know what, Paul? Paul, I have to say, right, there are some elements of what you're saying that Nat is sitting in here furiously writing notes because he wants to address in just a few moments. As you're speaking more, just that last portion of what you said, I have to agree. And that is why I do an old school show. I was asked to come on the Beat London for a long time, and it wasn't something that I was inclined to do necessarily, because I like all types of music, but in order for me to be authentic in me,
so do I.
I'm about old school. So, and I never shy away from that. But I understand there is a... Thank you so much. I do understand, though, that hey, I'm not as down with the kids as what I'd like to think. So I understand that what I'm doing is probably more niche. But then Old School Friday is very popular here on the Beat London among the young people as well. So it's very interesting what you're saying. And, I love everything that we're all doing. But I put my hands up and I have to agree with you about the music. And I will always be true to myself, whether it's ITV, whether it's the Beat London, I'll always speak the truth. So I hear you there. But I want to get over to Nathaniel. So thank you, Paul. I want to hear Nathaniel address what you've got to say.
Yeah, Paul,
right?
I mean, great comments towards the end. I completely agree with you in terms of music has a key influence on our young people, and we do need to have positive messages going out there. But, when we're talking about ignoring an issue, that's not how we get things done. You have to basically stand up. Imagine if Malcolm X ignored it. Imagine if Martin Luther King ignored it. Imagine if you had all of these great liberators, and even Bob Marley trying to change a system, or even Nelson Mandela. Imagine if they ignored it. And the thing is, you cannot ignore stuff like this, because what happens is it perpetuates a message. And you see, Katie Hopkins has so much clout as a celebrity to actually engage people. And where you've got people that don't perhaps have the right type of education, will latch directly onto something like that, it perpetuates messages even more. You know, Katie has been responsible for some major outrageous, slandering migrants. She's been accused of classism, of racism, and she continues to do it. And you have to stand to stop this, because it perpetuates a message and a narrative that we have to change. Not all black people are in gangs. There are so many that are not, and so we have to promote that message. But we need to understand that it's about re-educating people on a number of different things, because we have been miseducated.
So a lot of what you're saying is miseducation. Thank you, Nathaniel. You're sticking with me. We've only got 20 minutes left of the show. And can I just say about the old school, I didn't quite even explain why I like old school so much, because I grew up in old school, and those memories, of course there's always been gangs and violence and all of that stuff, but when I grew up with old school music, my memories are just good vibes, like gangs and stuff like that. Yeah, it happened, but it wasn't really, I'm from North Wheezy. Yes, okay, you had Chalk Farm. Do you know what I mean? You had Stonebridge, whatever, but it was kind of like they were doing what they were doing, and you couldn't, as an innocent person, bystander, you didn't really get caught up in that type of stuff. So old school music for me just reminds me of the good times, the 80s, 90s, early noughties, when we went out. If there was a fight, you fight with your dance moves, man. It's like, yeah, let's get you on the floor. Let's do the Running Man, the robot. And that's why I love old school so much, because it evokes such great memories for me. I've got Andre on the line. Are you there?
Good evening.
Hi, Andre. Thank you so much for your patience calling in. So what's your point of view? You've been listening to the show, is that correct?
Yeah, I've been listening intensively for the past 45 minutes or so. And I have a question to ask you involving that. Define red herring. What a red herring is.
Nat, he's speaking to you.
He said Leah first.
Oh, did he say me?
So, either of you.
Oh, okay. Why are you on your phone? Nat? Nathaniel?
Yes.
Hello?
Red herring, what, maternity? Or
what do you
mean by that?
So a red herring essentially is a phrase for a distraction, something that happens that kind of diverts your attention away from something. And this is something that actually depicts this whole situation with Katie Hopkins. The previous brother that called, Paul, kind of touched upon it in terms of, when this is a person that fires some attention and actually picks things that are fairly topical or kind of subsurface. And I think as a culture and I think as a people in this particular generation, we easily get outraged. And I think in the situation we're in, an environment in a moment where it's heavily formed in ignorance, fear, confusion because of the situation that's emerged from the recent financial crisis, you find that after every session, there tends to be a heightened amount of emotion in regards to racial and social issues. In regards to this issue in particular, I think that what isn't really focused is why is this coming up as an issue? And the key reason why this comes up as an issue is the lack of identification. Us as a people, the reason why we could say, you know what, she's got a point, or you know what, we're outraged, is because deep down we know that we're not united as a people. We haven't. If we look at the Asian population, yes, they could say I'm from Pakistan or from Bangladesh or from Sri Lanka, so on and so forth. But if you go to people from Afro-Caribbean background, the divisions tend to be quite obscene. Like, I remember I was going to uni, and in my ACS, you had people, there was a clear divide in terms of people from the African continent, people from the diaspora, and there's some sort of kind of cynicism between it. But this is something that's actually been within our culture, within our community and our race since 1884 from the Berlin Conference, and even before that with King Leopold II, who went to countries like the Congo, like Rwanda, divided people up just based on their nose, their skin type, the Hutus and the Tutsis. That type of indoctrination and colonization during that era has been ingrained as a people now, and what we're going on at the moment is that lack of identification. When you've got identification within yourself, you can identify the problems around you, and you can say, right, I don't need to hate this person, I don't need to like this person. No, why are we doing this? Only a few sporadic people actually have that type of mentality, but not enough. And I think with situations like this, we'll speak about it, we'll talk about it, but it's basically a flash in the pan. At the very instant in terms of how we're rearranged, we go back to a normal scene, and the conversation doesn't actually go into the way it needs to. So I think from this, what we need to learn from this is to kind of focus on the issue of identity that can eliminate the issue with gangs, eliminate in terms of people of education in media. It would empower us to actually have our own media presence and so on and so forth. And you find that it should start in theory a domino effect of correction.
Let's hope so. Andre, thank you so much. I'll let Nathaniel address that, but you're obviously a very educated young man. I appreciate your opinion. Thank you.
Absolutely spot on with everything that you're saying. And what organisation are you from, Andre? Andre's gone, but, I think I've heard this brother speak before, and very, very, very focused person in terms of understanding identity. He's exactly right in what he's saying. Identity, once you can understand who you are as an individual, then you're able then to permeate this message of positive messages back out into a community, mobilize yourself, actually build your own economy, build your own ecosystem. When you've got an ecosystem working well together, then that's when people actually begin to come out of negative environments, negative situations. You had partners back, in fact, when the Windrush happened, where people would leverage each other's wealth to actually buy houses. So when a lot of the people came over from the Caribbean, they would actually partner and then lend money to each other. So they actually form their own credit union, so to speak. So you lend to each other. So, when you actually have an identity, when you're able to build yourself up, you're able then to mobilize your ecosystem around you.
Absolutely. Very, very good points from everyone today. There's not one person I'm disagreeing with. What I'm like as well is that it could have easily gone into Katie Hopkins is this and that, and I've seen a lot of that on social, and that's why I didn't particularly want to talk about it today. But like I said, you guys have kind of asked me, and I've always done a show that just goes based upon what you lot want. If I'm honest, I never really plan anything. I just go with whatever vibe is happening that week or on that day. And you guys have spoken, and here you are. Another person who wants to speak is Abby. Hi, Abby.
Hi, Leah.
Hi, darling. Thank you so much for calling.
Okay, I just wanted to speak, just not even really about Katie.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, she's just suffering from white middle class privilege, so that's why she's in that position to be able to say that. But what for me anyway, she's given us food for thought. We as a community should be thinking about how and why she perceives us as like that, and what we can do to improve our image, one, and also to develop our young people so that they're not out there stabbing each other, they're not disenfranchised, they're not feeling as if the world owes them something, and really all the world owes you is life. You've got it. And our children are in a privileged situation in this country, and many of them don't see that. They don't see that they can be somebody because they don't see enough of us doing it. They don't see enough parents working hard. They don't see enough parents, owning businesses and contributing like that. So I think that it's important for us not to just focus on her and say, oh, she's racist. I don't think she's racist. I just think that she's really given us thought that if white middle class people are out there who live in Holden, my neighbours are in Holden, I live with lots of white middle class people in Holden, and that's their image of us, then we need to do something about it as a community. We need to find ways to engage with our youth. Find ways to engage with our children so that they can speak, they can be articulate, they can find jobs, they can stick to education.
We can be just a bit more self-sufficient. Abby, thank you so much. I'm going to have to cut you there, but thank you. Thank you. That was a really good point from Abby. I know Nathaniel was agreeing with most of it. Some of it he didn't. I actually agree with Abby quite a lot. I do get what she's saying in terms of, okay, whatever, Katie Hopkins is whatever. Whether she's a racist, she's middle-class privilege, whatever it is. The bottom line is, does she have a point? Does she have a point? And I think that's basically what Abby is saying. She's saying it's all good. And I think that's what Andre was saying as well. It's all good to say, oh, yeah, this woman's blah, 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 blah. But what about us? What are we doing? Where does the conversation begin and where does it end? What are we doing after we come off the phone now? Are we going to make any change? I want to hear from you. We've still got a little time left. 0208 963 9566. It's Leah CK Drive Time.
You're listening to Leah CK on the Beat London 103.6 FM.
Okay, so Leah CK here on the Beat London 103.6 FM. As usual, I have the best show with you guys. It's all about variety. And we, every week we do something different, don't we? We either have a laugh, we have some debates, we have a bit of scandal. But I just go with your flow and I'm loving it. Today, your flow is very good, people. So we have been talking about Katie Hopkins. We've been talking about her kind of, her controversial tweets that she always puts out there. Many of us just think, she's just one of those people who she just wants attention. She's, many things that people have to say. Gosh, I'm just looking. Earlier on, we had some tweets coming in, and I will address them in just a few moments. We have been speaking about what Katie said to the programme, Dear White People. Her response was, Dear Black people, if your lives matter so much, why do you stab and shoot each other? Was this racist, or does she have a point? Many of you have said it's not her fault, she's uneducated. Kayla said, look, we're just, as young people, we're bored. We're just trying to figure out what to do and where to go. We kind of need help, is what she's saying, and she's a voice of the community. Paul has said, some of the things that we're giving out there as Black people aren't very good messages. Andre was saying that we are divisive as people, and we need to come together more. Abby had really good, interesting points as well. And I've also got Nathaniel Pete, who is a multi-award winning social entrepreneur. He's also featured on the 2017 Black Power list. So he is a powerful Black man. And it's great to have you here, Nat.
It's always good to be here, Leah.
Always a pleasure. And at least I could have you here for a reason rather than you just bending my ear on the other side of the phone, which... which usually happens. Yeah, okay, what is it now? Okay. Love you, Nat.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good, Leah.
He looks at me. We're like brother and sister. I tease this man so much. I feel so bad. Sorry, Nat. All right, so what have you thought about what everyone's been saying so far?
I mean, there's been some really great points. I mean, Andre hit on some key points in terms of identity and being sure of who we are, coming together as a community, building our own ecosystem, which then naturally will then create more employment. You've had examples of that in like Harlem back in the early 1920s. But great things that have been said. But
one sec, sorry, I just want to say the phone lines are open, everyone. So if you do want to get involved, I've got about 5 minutes left. 0208 963 9566. That's 0208 963 9566. Still time to hear your opinion. Back to you, Matt.
I mean, some people are saying that she's ignorant and she's not educated. Well, you're wrong. Basically, she passed the exams for Oxford University. She got sponsored by the British Army Intelligence Corps for a degree at University of Exeter.
Wow.
She's actually quite an educated woman. And where you've got so much status, you have to be careful of what you put out. And Rowanna actually hit on that in terms of resisting, hatred. She's got an organisation called Resisting Hatred, and they try to take down a lot of racial comments which go out on social media. She's, Katie Hopkins has actually got two separate different matters here. With the first part of the tweet, she's trying to equate Black Lives Matter to, Black people killing each other. The Black Lives Matter campaign is all about the state or the system actually oppressing people. It was born out of the murder of Trayvon Martin in 2012. George Zimmerman was acquitted. The 17-year-old was actually put posthumously on trial for his own murder, and it forced a call to action from the community to actually mobilize each other to try to basically effect change. And what she's trying to say is that this Black Lives Matter thing is it's kind of it's not really matching up directly with Black people killing each other. It's talking about two separate things. It's really talking about a call to action to stop the oppression of a state. So there's been some really good comments which have come out of the programme today.
There have been some really good comments. Loads of tweets as well. Lollipop has said, I don't like the comments that Katie Hopkins made, but would you have a different opinion if it had come from another Black person? And I think that's a good point. That's a really, really good point. And Lollipops is the mother of Kayla, who's the mixed race young girl who called in earlier that everyone said is amazing. So she's very well brought up, clearly, and that is her mother. And I think it's a fair point. Lollipops is Irish. She's got mixed race children. So, I do actually agree with what Lollipops is saying in a way. If you had said that to me, would I be like, you're racist? You kind of wouldn't. And also, if it was white people who created a program saying, Dear Black people, that would also, I think, cause just as much outrage. And even the film Get Out, I saw that finally on the weekend, and that is a whole nother show, really. But it's just, but I found it quite funny and quite amusing, although I know it was quite controversial, and people were saying, well, I'm fed up with people taking the mick out of Black people and blah, blah, blah. But actually, I could see the underlying message of what they were trying to say, and I thought it was quite clever. It wasn't a horror, though. I thought it was quite clever. there are people, do you remember earlier on we spoke to Roanna Charlton
Yes.
from Resisting Hate
Yes.
organisation
Yes.
who came on the phone? Do you know, since we've been on air, she's having so many hate messages tweeted right now to her. Obviously, we're copied in because she tagged the Beat London, so now they're responding. And it's quite disgusting, actually. I just think it's really disgusting. And so I get her point that when you have celebrities or people in the public eye, like Katie Hopkins, who is inciting all of this stuff, it then opens up for people like this who think it's okay to do the same. And the comments I'm reading here, I probably have to go through the Beats timeline in a minute and delete them all because I don't even want them on there, and it's not even my Twitter feed.
It's almost like she's been a stirrer. It's like those people in school when they used to say, oh, they cussed your mum. Oh, fight. And they stir a situation up. And, you know, there's people that gravitate towards these types of messages, and they'll jump on the celebrity and then they'll begin to perpetuate this message. But, you know, it's been really good conversation today.
It's been really good. Nat, thank you so much. We will do this whole debate about young people. I'm going to get Kayla. I'm going to get some other young people on the show. If you're out there, if you're a leader, if you're a young person, if you've gone through, you know, you've seen some bad things, if whatever colour, creed, I want to hear from you. Email the show, call the show, tweet me, get in touch with me, Leah Charles King. Literally, there are loads of ways you could get hold of me. Let's create a really good show. I will work on that over the next few weeks, and we will do it. We'll promote it. We'll make sure that everyone knows and that you could all be involved. And I just want to say a big thank you to all of you for getting involved and for listening today. As usual, this show is all about you, and I love you. I will be back, God willing, next Friday to do it all over again, and who knows what we'll get up to next week. But Nathaniel Pete, thank you so much.
It's been good, Leah.
It's been a pleasure.
Definitely.
Thank you to LJ, my competition winner, who just so happened to stop by but got so involved in the conversation I let him stay. And then, of course, big up to Sean in the studio, and the lovely Zapman, and my son Wireless is here. I'm so happy. Wireless, quickly say something.
Hello. How are you doing today?
You got a good show?
It's a lot lined up today, Leah.
A lot lined up, and I'll let you get on with it. And he's cut off his beard. Mama appreciates you either way, my darling. Anyway, guys, Leah CK is out. Thank you so much for involving yourselves this week. I'm on Jackpot 24/7 on ITV on Sunday night. If you're a late owl, I know it's Monday the next day and you may have work. But I will be there peddling my wares at 3 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, I love you all. Take care. Bye.